Hello all you trigger happy cosmonauts, as always I am Cosmic and today we're going to be reviewing Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is the new open world tactical shooter from Ubisoft. It is a game that I have come into very skeptically and with somewhat of a great degree of cynicism considering the state of the open beta where I did my preview and the game was absolutely a technical mess. So the developers certainly had some work to do to really change my perceptions of the game coming into launch. Now let's start with the setting and story. The game is of course set in a futuristic Bolivia, not that futuristic, it's in the near future, whereby it has been turned into a narco state. The Santa Blanca cartel have basically infiltrated every part of the military and government and they run the state of Bolivia now. And you are a Black Ops team leader. You come into Bolivia to help the resistance after a DEA agent is killed and tortured in opposite order, of course, and it's just a game about taking down the Santa Blanca cartel. The way you do this is that you have to gather intel on various members of the organization, then you have to take down the members, and as you do this you gain more info about the top leaders of the Santa Blanca cartel, and as you have basically destroyed their organization from the ground up, you then get access to taking down higher value targets. Now I have to say that the game has some really good points here. I like the setting. I think the Bolivian world looks amazing. The open world looks fantastic. It is really a gorgeous world to look around in with the beautiful jungles and that kind of thing. Visually, it's very appealing. I love the setting and I love the story too. I think the story is actually pretty damn good. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination and I wouldn't say that it's ridiculously in-depth neither, but it reminds me of a CSI film. Like if CSI was to make a film, that's pretty much what it would be, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great little story. I think it has some really interesting characters. I love the fact that during the story and during the game you learn more about these individual cartel members. Like for example, at the very start you take down a couple who torture people called Yuri and Polito, and they are a married couple. And they are absolute psychopaths, and you get to listen to recordings of them do certain things and talk about various things, and it really brings these characters to life. And I absolutely love that about the game, and it's certainly a very major positive in its favour. Another positive of the game is the core combat itself. I have to say that I absolutely love the core combat in Wildlands. I think it has so many good facets to it. For example, not only is it a third-person shooter, but it changes into a first-person shooter. So as you aim down the sights, you can go into first-person mode, which really does help with accuracy, and for me, makes the game a more fun experience. If you don't like first-person shooters, you can switch that and just make it a complete third-person shooter. It gives you that option. There's a nice array of weaponry available. As you progress, you unlock various new weapons, and you're able to find them in the world, as well as attachments for those weapons. And you have a wide range of gadgets and various little bits and gizmos to use. So you can use a drone to spot targets, there's grenades, there's mines, there's distraction tools, and there's a wide range of things that you can use in equipment. And I think that for the most part, the combat is fairly solid. The AI can be a little bit weird at times, and I think that there are certainly gaps in the AI system that make the game less challenging than it should be, particularly in the fact that I can run around the enemy and they have no idea what's going on until I shoot them in the face. And that's a little bit of a problem, but for the most part the AI works as intended, and the game can be quite difficult at times, although for the most part I do think that it is far too easy throughout. And so endeth the positive section of the game, because everything else drove me absolutely crazy, and I'm going to tell you why. First, my biggest gripe from the open beta was, of course, the technical state of the game. Ghost Recon Wildlands has not improved in any stretch of the imagination. Pretty much every single problem I had in the open beta, I have had in the full release, which includes multiple bugs, including enemies just disappearing. You're talking about loading problems throughout, the game freezing throughout, having really strange FPS drops, mainly due when you're going into a new area. The game decides, oh, do you know what, even though we're an open world and we say we have no loading and it's, seamless, it's not. It just freezes for like 10 seconds and takes ages to load. There's multiple glitches, multiple bugs, multiple assets just spawning in the middle of the air, and overall it is a buggy technical mess. It does not run smoothly multiple times, and the amount of bugs that are in this game are shocking. It is very difficult to create a bug-free game at the best of times, but especially in an open world, and I certainly get that. However, when you have a situation where the bugs in your game are not just making, funny visual things happen, but you're talking bugs that directly affect core gameplay, including the removal of enemy soldiers that you need for an objective, that is a big bloody issue, and it has not been resolved since open beta. It is still ongoing and can be very frustrating. Now, aside from the technical and bug issues, I have to say that my biggest mechanical gripe, core design gripe with the game is the progression. I absolutely despise the progression in this game because it is directly tied to resources. Now, in the game, you are able to tag resources throughout the world for the rebels to pick up, which makes you think, oh, maybe they're using it for something. No, it's directly tied to your progression. So being able to unlock new skills and improve your abilities means that you have to not only acquire skill points by finding skill points in the world and leveling up, but you also have to have enough resources to pay for that upgrade as well, which includes things like food, medicine, or things like communication devices. So, which means you have to spend an enormous amount of time doing mindless running around resource collection in the world, which I don't want to do. I want to go find Polito and Yuri. I want to go find Santa Blanca lieutenants and interrogate them. I want to shoot bad guys in a Ghost Recon game. I don't want to be spending all my time running around Bolivia in various different things, finding bloody resources, which just takes time, effort, and it's mindless busy work. The fact that they've tied your character progression to the actual resource management of the game is beyond me. It creates a very frustrating system that is not only slow but is tedious and artificially elongates the game length because you're spending time that you could be doing missions, running around finding pointless resources. Now, on top of that, I also don't like the gun progression system, the equipment progression system, because it means that you have to go out and find weapon cases to unlock new guns, and you have to find accessory cases to unlock the accessories or the different parts for those guns, instead of having a shop where I could literally just go into and buy things with money that doesn't exist in the game anyway, but have a currency system in the game where, I take down and I get paid. Black Ops people get paid. And I would like to be able to just buy various weapons or the attachments to those weapons. And sure, you can gate it and you can put it, various progression paths through the game. But allow me to, spend time buying it and then just getting on with the core game rather than having to search this huge open map for a bloody weapon case so that I may or may not get a weapon that I like. The way Ubisoft have directly tied these progression systems into resources and random exploration is just so frustrating and very, very tedious. It really does take away from the core fun factor of the game. It takes away from the core experience of the game at that. I'm a Black Ops unit. I am there to kill bad guys. That is my purpose. That is my role. I am there to undertake operations that involve combat. I am not there to run around looking for weapon cases. I am not there to run around looking for food. I am there to kill people. And the fact that you have me spending a lot of time running around looking for various resources really detracts from the core experience of the game. It's a shame because there's a lot of things about Wildlands that I like. I like the combat, I like the open world, I like the story, I like the mission system, but there's a lot of in the game that just makes this game boring. It makes it boring. The progression system makes the game boring. The resource collection system makes the game boring. The driving has not been improved massively. I've certainly seen a mild improvement from the open beta, and I think that the driving is a lot better than it was, but I still think that it does have certain problems with the handling and the speed. And I just think that it's just so not ready for finish. It's just not ready. The technical state shows that it's not ready. The amount of bugs in the game shows that it's not ready. I think that the overall story, while good, certainly has gaps and issues that do need to resolve. The voice acting for the most part was pretty solid. The audio was pretty solid. The visuals were pretty solid, bar the cutscenes where there was terrible lip syncing and horrible frame rate issues. And I think that at its core, Wildlands does have a lot of potential, but at its current implementation and execution, it just becomes boring and tedious to the point where, yes, I do enjoy the story. Yes, I do enjoy the combat, and I enjoy taking down the Santa Blanca cartel, and I enjoy learning more about these targets that I'm trying to take down. But it just becomes a repetitive gameplay loop of monotonous, time-consuming work that isn't necessary for what you are actually supposed to be doing in the game, which is, of course, shooting bad guys. You spend so much time messing around with the various side missions and the resource collection that it just really detracts away and really takes away from what could have been a really interesting open world tactical shooter. Overall for me, Wildlands is average at best. I think that it does certain things very well, but the amount of things that it does wrong supersede what it does well. If you're interested in Wildlands, I would recommend waiting for a sale, wait till it's discounted, and wait till it's patched, and then play and have a better experience than you will at this current time. I certainly think that it has potential, and I would certainly like to see this formula of Ghost Recon game, taken into the next game and improved upon. I certainly think it has potential for the future, but the current execution of the game is just not up to par and not what I was hoping for. And so for that reason, I would certainly recommend waiting until you can get this game discounted and waiting until the technical performance and the bugs have been patched out. And that is my review of Ghost Recon Wildlands. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, share on social media, places like Reddit, and as always, I will see you next time.